Real quick before we get started, I think this is like the best breakdown that I've ever made. I'm super proud of this. I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, guys. So we finally got Iceman episode 3 from Drake, and this time it all went down in Milan, Italy. A quick refresher, episode 1 was in Toronto. We had Drake at the Iceman factory. We got the single for What Did I Miss, and then he drove the delivery truck through the city for all of downtown to witness. In episode 2, he went even heavier on the visuals, where Drake's team turned it up a couple notches. We had Drake at the brewery, he was staring at a couple red buttons, a Pinocchio was stalking him, he received a mysterious bag from Central C, we got the record for which one, he gets away from the Pinocchio, jumps in an elevator, where he stares at another red button before he catches a train. That's a high level review of what happened so far. And now with episode number 3, Drake's team took the production to a whole other level.
This episode 3 had me mad confused. Like,
As
this is why I'm watching this. I didn't watch no other breakdowns for no other episodes. For this one though, it was the most confusing for me. Like, I didn't really understand a lot of it. So that's why I'm watching this.
Episode required 16 cameras, 2 Steadicams, 1 drone, 14 locations with just 3 days to prepare, and I didn't count, but there has to be at least over 100 actors. A lot of people overlook like the work that goes in.
Why is this like his mic is getting louder and this, and then when it goes to the other thing, he gets. This nigga bought an Iceman shirt from Toronto. I didn't mean to press that. Let's do that again. This man, bro. Never mind, bro.
It is including me, but this is like a live film. Just a quick disclaimer, there are a lot of Italian landmarks and references in this episode, and I'm going to try my best to pronounce some of these words properly, but I'm destined to mess up some of these names. The episode opens up with a wide shot of Castello Safranza in Milan. During the day, this is one of the busiest places for tourism, but in this shot it looks lifeless as it's shot at nighttime. Now inside these walls lies some of the most celebrated art in human history. Names like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael all have beautiful murals and statues inside this castle. But here's the twist, none of them owned their art. No matter how brilliant they were, these artists were paid for their labor and not their legacy. Whoever controlled and owned the castle also owned the art. For as long as these famous pieces have lived behind these walls and the billions of dollars generated from tourists that go see it, the families of these genius creators have not earned a penny. From a music perspective, they didn't own their masters, right? This castle is a perfect symbol of power, control, and legacy as it pertains to art, and I believe it's a perfect representation
is that Spider-Man?
As it pertains to art. And
W Spider-Man, W Scorpion. That's all I have to say.
And I believe it's a perfect representation of the music industry and how things work. Just like the famous art behind these walls, the music and legacy of an artist is owned by the label. In theory, UMG is no different than the leaders who own this castle. They'll put up the money to fund an artist, but more times than not, they own the music forever. It's almost like...
Also, the other reason why I'm watching this is not just because I was confused, but also Drake liked the post with like a clip from this, so maybe some of the stuff he's saying is true. So I want to see what he's talking about.
Like, as long as art has existed, there's been this power dynamic where rich, wealthy, powerful people own the art and not the people who actually make it. Next, we see a bunker that is full of ice with 2 shovels and what appears to be a very similar sized block to the block that we saw Drake measure in episode 1. Now, the location of this bunker is at the business location of Iceman in Milan. Not to get confused with the business of Iceman in Toronto. They are 2 separate enterprises, but this is a perfect shot that acts as a visual motif to remind us.
See, the difference is Toronto is the Iceman, and then the Italy one is just Iceman.
With the business of Iceman in Toronto. They are 2 separate enterprises, But this is a perfect shot that acts as a visual motif to remind us right away of the continued theme around the Iceman. Again, this has all been planned for quite some time. Next, we see the shot of the San Siro Stadium in Milan, which is one of the most iconic stadiums in the world for hosting football, concerts, and cultural events. The most unique aspect about this stadium is the fact that two rival football teams share it. They have one of the most famous and long-standing...
Wait, imagine having a rival team and you have to share the arena that you're in. Inter Milan and AC Milan. That's crazy.
Rivalries in the history of sports, and that is AC Milan versus Inter Milan. This competitive dynamic under the same roof is a perfect example of how UMG structures its business. On the east, we have Monty Littman, who looks after the East Coast labels, and on the west, we have John Janik, who controls the power of the West Coast labels. These two executives in particular have been battling for years to see which side is more profitable, aka which team wins, but ultimately it all falls under the ownership of UMG. But get this, in 2006, AC Milan CEO Adriano Galliani was caught in a match-fixing scandal.
What does
Basically,
that mean?
the CEO was hand-picking the referees to call the games.
What? What side was he on?
UMG. But get this, in 2006, AC Milan CEO Adriano Galliani was caught in a match-fixing scandal.
AC Milan.
Basically, the CEO was hand-picking the referees to call the games. You want to know how they got caught? Wiretaps and a whole lot of them. I'm talking
They tapped his phone? Nah. They got all the transcripts.
Direct evidence of discussing which referees should call their games. Now, call me crazy, but from Drake, we've seen owls on phone lines. We have entire records like Nokia based on phone calls. There's a theme around taps itself.
I got your fucking lines tapped.
I swear that I'm dialed in.
And he even installed a phone booth outside of his house.
It's a big bridle path mansion, a payphone booth. Remember those?
Is this like a subliminal message from Drake? I don't know, but you know, a phone booth is where you would go to avoid wiretaps.
Paulie hated phones. You wouldn't have one in his house.
Made guy, he flipped about 10 years ago and he got busted for peddling H.
The scene then switches to the Bacchiophilia Casalanza. I'm so bad at this, bro. It's here where we get a yellow and blue backdrop with a few old timers playing bocce ball. Now, bocce in particular is a game that takes time and patience. It's not a fast action sport. Players take time to measure angles and plan their shots well in advance. With this Iceman rollout, Drake has been playing the long game. There are many clues that the title of Iceman has been in the works.
Nigga had Iceman on his ass 2 years ago.
Since 2003, and we saw Iceman references on the Plot Twist Instagram account.
There's one of these I see one of these every day. The Iceman. I see one of these every single day on the streets. That shit crazy.
Just weeks after his beef with Kendrick ended.
Y'all put it in the front page, back page, middle page, wherever. Headliners, column 1 or 2, we will win game 2.
Next, we see a statue called the Mother of Boo, and I believe this statue represents one of the most important aspects of the episode. This statue is based on an old 1800s play where Mother of Boo is this greedy, power-hungry woman who will do anything to get to the top. She manipulates her husband into killing the king so that he can take the throne.
Bro, all this old stuff be scary. Like, there's no way kids was not having nightmares. Look at this. Hell even is this? Like, hell no. I'd be scared of this.
Mother of Boo causes massive damage and chaos because she pushes her husband to make reckless choices. These are choices where it looks like he's making them himself, but really she's behind the scenes calling the shots. In a nutshell, the statue symbolizes greed and manipulation. It's a strong statement that the person wearing the crown isn't always in control and that there are invisible forces pulling the strings behind the scenes. A good example would be like, say, a president, right? People say, oh, the president is just a puppet. There's people behind the scenes really pulling the strings, and that's basically what the statue represents. Up to this
Yes.
point in the video, there has been no sound whatsoever, but this is where it changes as we hear Parole Parole by Minna. Parole Parole is a song from back in 1976 where we have a man talking to a woman and she is singing back to him. The man continuously compliments the woman, and in every sense of the word, he's telling her what she wants.
Damn, the nigga glazing and shit. This is my destiny to talk to you. Who loves the wind and the scent of roses? You're my forbidden dream. Far too beautiful. Like, Brent, get your ass on, man. You must be doing too much.
To hear.
Damn.
However, the woman is not buying
She
it.
not even looking at you.
To her, it's all words, and she sees right through them. The phrase parole parole quite literally means words, words. In France, they'll use it by saying, like, that's just words. Like, it's all talk, like parole parole. It's also extremely interesting to point out that Minna had a history of being dissatisfied with record labels. She was being taken advantage of financially, and she had very little creative control. That was until she left her label behind and started an independent label called PDU with her father. The most interesting part about this is the fact that Minna is known as the first Italian singer to ever own her own record label and recording studio. She is the first Italian musician to really fight for independence in the music industry. She's Italy's first independent superstar. What's even more impressive is that Minna's career completely exploded as an independent artist. She gained far more success on her own than she ever did under her record deal. And it's the specific music he uses and artist he uses and architecture that he shoots that really it helps to tell the story. The song itself is literally about empty promises in a toxic relationship, as Minna sings from the perspective of a woman who's been lied to repeatedly. Drake could be making a statement about the label executives that betrayed him, or the countless rumors that are in circulation when it comes to his name. Really, it's one of the simplest ways for Drake to address everything, like parole parole, like all that's just talk, it's just words. Next we see a standard open door, but it's part of a much larger door frame. This is often referred to as a wicket door, and it's very common in older Italian architecture. Humans would go through the smaller door, and like the bigger door was used for like cows and like cattle and stuff like that. This door...
I thought he was about to say like some type of giants. I thought he was about to say something. Nigga said cows. I'm sure the cows could fit in like half of this. Why is the door this big?
In particular is located at the Chiesa del Carmen church in Milan. And it's at the end of the video where we're really going to talk about this church. Eventually the music stops and the scene cuts to the Iceman truck in Milan. What we see next is the entrance sign for the exact same location from the scene with the bocce court. Also notice that this area is under surveillance, which is a theme we have seen throughout the Iceman series. In fact, the Mother Abu statue that I just showed you also clearly had a camera staring directly at it. The scene then moves through the restaurant, giving us a full 360 view of the space before Drake finally appears, carrying the same bag from episode 2 on his back. He's also wearing the same Iceman hoodie that we've seen in the first 2 episodes, so there's continuity across the series.
Yes.
However, this time I did notice something specific about the bag, and that is that it's camouflage. I don't think this was a random design choice, as camouflage can be seen as a symbol of war, a sign of moving strategically, and a way of blending in while plotting your next move. I don't think the camouflage bag is like a random thing. We then see Drake carrying the bag as he walks past rows and rows of trophies. You'll soon see that legacy is a major theme in this episode, and you'll notice he takes a moment to check some of them.
You're looking at all the trophies. Okay? Let this guy cook. Let him cook.
A major theme in this episode, and you'll notice he takes a moment to check some of them out. Drake, of course, already has countless accolades and awards, which makes this shot interesting, but we'll circle back to this later. Think about protecting your legacy, but also building on your legacy. Drake then walks out to the bocce court, he takes a seat, he pulls out his phone and proceeds to call Yeet, who is playing the character of a man shown on screen at another location.
So, you made it all right?
So right away it seems like we have a narrative bridge to connect the two episodes, as Yeet confirms that Drake made it to the location safely, and remember episode 2 ended off with Drake catching a train. You made it here all right? Like, it kind of connects the two episodes, right? In the phone conversation, we do hear Drake talking, and you can hear him whisper, but as much as I manipulate the audio, I can't really pick out what he's saying, except for one portion where he says, "I'll see you when I see you." Yeet seems to be playing the role of someone
That was
setting
a whole whisper.
Yeet seems to be playing the role of someone setting up a play for Drake, and it's clear that it's also risky, as he has a backup plan should things go left.
All right, look, I got that other thing set up just in case anything go left.
After the call ends, Drake takes the bag, heads back into the restaurant, and meets 3 mafia-like figures. He takes a seat,
mafia.
and then Italian rap superstar Stefra Ubasta lays a red card out on the table.
I thought that was just a
Another
random
famous person in this scene is designer Domenico Formachietti. Now, if you look closely, it appears that this is not just a card, as something seems to be attached to it, possibly a key, and I look at this card as Drake receiving a very specific key piece of information. Once he accepts the card, he leaves the restaurant and walks towards the Iceman truck, and at the time I thought for sure he was going to drive the vehicle, but instead he gets into a smaller car, which I believe is a 1970s Fiat 125 Special. And now he begins to tease like a bunch of new music. When it comes to the music in this episode, there are a lot of interesting lines, but I'll break them down in a separate video because most of it is not relevant to the theme of the episode. However, one thing that I do want to point out is that on 2 separate songs, Drake seems to bring up that they want him dead.
I wonder how long I'll be at the top if they don't kill me.
Oh yeah, y'all wanna see me go? Y'all wanna see me dead?
Some might hear these lines and think about Drake's ops in terms of rappers, but this is also reminiscent of what Drake alleged in his lawsuit against UMG.
I wonder how long it'll take them to count out 2,000 million.
So again, in relation to the lawsuit, you can do the math. Drake is talking about the label counting out $2 billion. Now, is this a figure he's hoping to get? Is this what he values his catalog at? Is he saying they'll have to fork over his catalog? I don't know. The line really leaves more questions than answers, right? But Drake has been talking about these super max deals, right? Drake comes to a stop, and the next big location...
I forgot about Supermax deals. That's one that needs to be on the album. But we did. We did hear it though. I heard the theory that we're only getting songs that we heard the instrumental and not the actual song. And songs that we actually heard him like rap on is not on the album.
is to Torretta del Nuovo Macello. I know I'm terrible at these names, trust me. The scene takes place at a small restaurant in Milan, a spot known for its quality Italian cuisine. A table is set for 4, and an ominous yet amazing beat fills the background. I couldn't find this sample anywhere. We see a random man and woman eating at a table and drinking wine, and one by one, we see that 4 Pinocchios sit down at the table, and what immediately stood out to me is just how different these 4 Pinocchios were from the one that we saw in episode 2. The Pinocchio from episode 2 wore a single-piece suit, while the costumes in this restaurant scene look noticeably homemade. The most striking difference is their bow ties. Each one is neatly tied and identical across the group, whereas the Pinocchio from episode 2 is entirely different. The Pinocchio from episode 2 is more polished, right? Like he's meant to be in the public eye. I think he's an artist, and I still think it's Kendrick. The difference in costume details feels deliberate, as it suggests that these 4 Pinocchios are all tied together as one collective force. They are not artists, they are suits that represent industry executives pulling the strings. They're still puppets, but they're corporate puppets. The likely suspects for the 4 Pinocchios would be John Janik of Interscope, Monty Littman of Republic, Avery Littman of Republic, and another person who acts as an inside mole or whistleblower. If you look at Drake's lawsuit against UMG, these are the key players at the top that would make up the plan. Now, if you're wondering about Lucien Grange and where he is in all this, he's been in the restaurant the whole time. If you look at the man seated behind the Pinocchios, this is a stand-in actor meant to symbolize Lucien. Notice there is not a single moment where he even looks or acknowledges the Pinocchios. Drake's lawsuit alleges that Lucien was fully aware of the plan but turned a blind eye to it. And the fact that the Pinocchios are able to get into the same building and spaces to be this close to Lucien told me that they were executives, right? Like Lucien's, he's turning a blind eye. He's not looking, he knows they're there, but he's keeping his distance, right? Each Pinocchio receives a single ice cube on their plate, and you could see that they look to be discussing business. One of the Pinocchios then writes out the word legacy on the tablecloth in red sauce, likely meant to symbolize blood. This is a strong statement to symbolize that what's on the menu is Drake's legacy, his name, his reputation, his catalog. They want to eat off Drake's legacy at any cost, which is why it's written in blood. However, they don't get a 4-course meal. The only thing on the menu tonight are ice cubes, Drake's signature as the Iceman. I believe that each ice cube represents a frozen moment. The same name of Drake's...
Frozen Moments LLC. Y'all niggas don't even know about that. Old as hell. And you said Frozen Moment.
LLC in the lawsuit against UMG. John Janik's ice cube represents his part of the plan as someone who stood to gain financially from the beef. Avery and Monty Littman's ice cubes represent the betrayal of Republic Records and how instead of protecting Drake, they cooperated and approved the defamatory material to lower Drake's negotiation value. Each ice cube acts as a frozen moment that represents the evidence of their own corruption. There will be evidence of payola with radio. There will be a digital footprint for proof of bots and manipulation. There will be paper trails that show they knew Not Like Us was damaging to Drake's image. There will be documents of them approving the defamatory material. Basically, all the shady moves that were supposed to come together as this secret and perfect plan to damage Drake will act as their own downfall because it's all evidence against them. It's things that they can't erase, right? It's frozen moments. That's the evidence. In reality, the legacy written in blood on the table isn't Drake's at all, but their own. In their minds, this dinner table was meant to be loaded with steak, lobster tails, wagyu, caviar, and all the finest things, because that's what a flawless victory looks like when you don't get caught. Instead, what they're really being served are the frozen reminders of their own corruption. Their plan was supposed to go off without a hitch, right?
Okay. I think he's starting to pick up now. At the start, I was like, where is he going? Now he's starting to low-key pick up. I'm starting to connect the dots.
But it's really the plan itself that turns out to be their downfall because it's all evidence. In the end, the waiter comes along and dumps a bucket of smaller ice cubes on the table, and I believe this symbolizes all the smaller players that make up the plan. They're just regular workers like the waiter. As you can see here, there are a lot of people in Drake's lawsuit that he is seeking discovery from.
God damn.
There are a lot of people in...
All these people. Republic, Universal, Interscope. God damn.
Drake's lawsuit that he is seeking discovery from, and I believe these smaller ice cubes represent all the data that comes from discovery. These are the smaller frozen moments like timestamps, IP logs, wire transfers, playlist fees, invoices, metadata, and information like that.
Label's always gonna try to do you dirty. That's what I'm saying. I already heard mad stuff like that. Like from artists. They don't get paid. Even Michael Jackson. They literally tried to do a Michael Jackson and he wasn't going. Maybe that's why they killed him.
Individually, these are all smaller frozen moments, right? But when they all come together collectively, it's like a mountain of evidence that takes up the whole table. This Italian restaurant scene acts as a direct link to the three mafia-like figures who I believe provided Drake with a metaphorical key to the inside of the restaurant and their plan. If you're familiar with mafia movies and TV shows, you'll know that the classic setup for arranging a hit or murder often happens at a restaurant. In fact, it's not even some mythical thing in show business. Restaurant hits have played out many times in real-life mafia situations.
Damn.
Carmine Galante was killed in Joe and Mary's restaurant in Brooklyn. Joe Gallo was shot at Umberto Clam House in Little Italy. Willie Moretti was killed having lunch at Joe's Elbow Room in Jersey. And this dinner
And PNB Rock, I'm pretty sure PNB Rock got killed at a restaurant.
or meeting is like a metaphorical hit going down that Drake carried out. He's the hitman who laid out the ice cubes, right? We then see a shot of a fancy looking apartment, and I track this down, and it is the Loft Elegante in Zona Palastro. As you can see, this is the exact same place, it's just lit and color graded differently. A good looking woman enters the scene, she walks around a bit, and one thing I noticed is she is wearing the merch from Lil Yachty's clothing line, Concrete Boys.
W Concrete.
I know there's some rumors going around that Drake is not on good terms with Yachty, but I don't think that's true. Drake enters the room with the bag, and the girl is very happy to see him. It's clear that they know each other, as it's all smiles and they hug. This is the first time we've seen the Iceman character give off any authentic signs of trust. Drake then proceeds through a secret hidden door, and as you could see, the inside is all red. In episode 2,
They walked in the back door. How much you want to bet? He just said shows any sign of trust. How much you want to bet she's the one that backdoors him?
we saw a bunch of doors, right? So there's definitely a theme around doors. From here, Drake previews a new song titled Stuck, and I'm not sure if this coincides with the theme at all. I couldn't really make any connections. The woman sits down and watches a video of Drake. Now, wherever this was filmed, it is the exact same location as the Fighting Irish freestyle
I think that's his house, gang.
that leaked in January. Eventually, it was posted to the Plot Twist YouTube channel, and as you can see, this is the exact same fireplace. We'll talk about this soon, but this freestyle is really important. Eventually, Drake reappears from the hidden red room, and now he is wearing a different outfit. This is the first time over the course of the series where he is not in the Iceman character, and I believe this is for a very good reason. Something that a lot of people seem to miss is that while Drake takes a sip of the wine, the woman gives him another red card and Drake leaves the room with the bag. The woman gives him another red card and Drake leaves the room with the bag. I believe
So
this
he has
woman
two cards.
represents a key aspect of information, possibly something that could blow this entire thing wide open. This is where the Mother Abu statue makes an even bigger statement, because she was a powerful hidden woman that was really pulling the strings. Next, the woman picks up a Pinocchio toy, which I was able to track down, and it's this one right here. It's a Pinocchio snow globe that when you wind it up, it plays a song. That's exactly what the
That's
girl
cool.
does, but unfortunately, it's here where the production team seemed to make a mistake. You can see that she's listening to the song, but we can't hear it, and I believe they forgot to cue the audio for the scene.
Oh, that's why we were hearing people. They put the sound in the wrong room.
This is what I think we were supposed to hear.
Isn't this the Disney theme song?
I really believe they messed that part up. The girl winds up the Pinocchio toy so that it will start playing, and to me, this feels symbolic of a woman behind the scenes pulling the strings of these Pinocchio executives.
You guarantee it was done for a reason? Like what? The sound going in the wrong room?
Essentially, she's playing them. She's the one who opens the door for Drake, and that door likely represents secrets and information that only she can give him access to. Then we had the
Yeah.
mirror on the wall, and normally a mirror just shows the surface reflection of things, but Drake goes behind the mirror, and that means he's stepping past appearances and into what's being concealed. He emerges with a completely different outfit, and this is a new identity, one that represents
The audio in itself might be representative of something. Like maybe you could be wrong, but maybe expanding on what you just said, maybe it could be like they were trying to put out something to the world, which would be the sound, but they messed up and we heard what was really going on. And now we know whatever they're doing is fabricated. They did not put out what they were supposed to, and they slipped up. And now we know what's behind the scenes. And now we know that there is a scene.
Drake playing along with the game. And I think this is a big part of the plot twist where the Iceman just carried out the hit. He knows what they're about to do, but he's got to play it cool. He's changing into a different character now, right? Where this character needs to play the game. This has all the hallmarks of what a very common type of plot twist would look like in cinema, where the character is someone completely different than they actually seem. By the way, if you want to support what I'm doing here on the channel, I did create memberships finally, and I'll leave it in the pinned comment. Drake gets back into the car, and we get a quick glimpse of what is written on the red card from the woman. As you could see, good luck trying to decipher what any of this means. It kind of looks like lips kissed onto a card, but in Sicilian mob culture, this is known as a pizzini, which is a small piece of paper with cryptic messaging that the mob use for
What type of lore does Italy have? They got mad, like just a whole lot of shit that they've been using.
very high-level communications. These pizzinis, if you look it up, like there's some famous like Sicilian mob bosses that use these. Drake then plays a remix of Somebody Who Loves Me with Cash Cobain, and there is a fairly long stretch of seeing all the same shots that we were already shown, but now Pinocchios are at some of the locations. One is in the ice
This
bunker,
Pinocchio was
and
bored.
I believe
No, this one was bored. This nigga was just running around. This nigga was playing in the ice and shit. Nigga, Italy got hella lore. Just even Rome itself has hella lore. That's crazy. One of the coolest things in Italy is the Colosseum. Like, just that thing in itself, like, it looks like it was, like, hit with a, I don't know, it looks like it was hit with a wrecking ball, and then they just left it. And then niggas just fighting there.
this is Republic's Avery Lippman. Drake potentially owes one more album to Republic under contract, and that will be Iceman. As you could see, there is a single block of ice with the Pinocchio in the bunker. This had me look back to question what the blocks represented in the Iceman factory from episode 1. At the time, I wasn't sure what the blocks were for, but this visual had me thinking. In that episode, Drake was clearly working for the man inside the factory, and when he measures out that block, is it possible this represented his last album for UMG? Looking back now and thinking about it, I think it's definitely possible that the block is an album. Next, we see the Pinocchio who is outside of the castle, and I believe this is Monty Lippman of Republic, who just a few months before the battle received a massive promotion. As I explained in previous videos,
What battle? It's gotta be Drake versus Kendrick.
received a massive promotion. As I explained in previous videos, Monty's goal is to ultimately take over Lucian's spot. In every sense of the word, he is an industry climber who wants to be in Lucian's seat. He wants to get into the castle. He wants the throne, right? Like the castle to me is UMG. While all these visuals are being shown, we hear a sample called Wadan from a Lebanese artist named Farouz.
Oh yeah, I like this one. I was listening to this yesterday.
This track in particular
Damn,
is
he didn't let that shit play.
a very highly regarded cultural track in Lebanon. In fact, the Lebanese people are very protective over Farouz and her music. She is a cultural icon, and it shouldn't come as a shocker that in 2012, UMG purchased EMI, which was the label that owned the majority of Farouz's catalog.
Of course.
The one man that was extremely happy with this deal was, of course, Lucian Grange, who celebrated being the proud owner of this music. Based on my research, it looks like a lot of her catalog is with UMG. And Drake is pairing this legendary artist's music with scenes of the castle, a place that owns all the legendary art that I mentioned earlier. Then we see the shot of Legacy on the table and the Mother Abu statue, which represents greed. This is a powerful statement because UMG is collecting legacy art and culture like baseball cards, and if Drake's allegations are true, they're willing to do whatever it takes to assume that ownership. And I think people are really missing the bigger picture of what he's trying to say.
Hey.
Next, we switch to the Techo Girolamo Theater in Milan.
This one though, first of all, I saw someone make a Batman connection to this, but also, this is like just the visual of this is the coolest one when all the people pull
and
up.
back in the day, this venue was specifically built for puppet shows. As you can see, here are some old photos. This thing is creepy as hell, but you get the point. I don't like it. Like, I don't like the puppets and shit. Like, I'm definitely not pulling up. So, obviously, a running theme over the last two episodes is Pinocchio, which is a puppet, and it's at this exact theater where they put on actual Pinocchio puppet shows. Pinocchio also originated in Italy, so it makes sense. Next, we see Drake, who emerges from a door, and he looks down at the floor from the main viewing gallery. Now, soon enough, you are going to see that these sections get filled by powerful white men in business suits, and I believe these men represent shareholders, private investors, and board members who more or less sit above people like Lucian at UMG. Drake himself is on the exact...
It's a whole lot of shit that just be going on we don't see because we don't care to see, and because they hide themselves well, but they're not hiding. Like, it's in plain sight, but they're hiding.
Exact same level as the powerful investors and shit, right? Like, they're eye to eye. So when Drake takes up that exact same space in the gallery, it really tells me one thing. He's either looking for equity in the company or full-on ownership of his music. Outside of that, possibly Drake owns other artists' music and catalogs that we don't know anything about. And I really believe that there's like a theme, like an ongoing theme of Drake and ownership. You'll see that there's a moment where one man wearing all black appears in the gallery and he makes a gesture towards Drake. You can see that Drake looks directly at him, so it's clear there's some sort of communication or relationship between these two people. Nobody else is in the room except for these two. Another thing you'll notice here is that of all the men in the gallery, he is specifically the only person wearing all black. This is intentional as he is meant to stand out from the others, and it could symbolize a whistleblower from up top and someone that Drake has information from. It's very possible that this guy that's above Drake, status power-wise, he's the other Pinocchio. Drake leaves his place in the gallery and heads down to the seating area below where we see two red chairs. While all this is going on, we hear a classic Italian song called Vesta la Guba. This song is part of a play called Pagliacci, and the word itself means clowns. The opera singer who sings this specific part of the play...
So that's when they be like dissing and shit. And in Italy, they be dissing Pagliacci, Pagliacci. That means you're a clown. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start saying that when niggas start coming talking crazy, I'm gonna call him a Pagliacci. He's not gonna know what I'm talking about, but I do.
That you're hearing from Drake in the episode is a clown named Kaneo who just found out that his wife is cheating on him, and even though he's betrayed and really upset with the news, he still needs to put on the clown makeup and perform for the people. This specific part of the play really mirrors Drake's situation because he already knows that his label is going to do him dirty, but he has to play along with the game. This could really be the reason for his change in outfits. The Iceman character is the part of Drake that represents cold-hearted revenge, whereas the character that is sitting down is the Drake that they are expecting. This is Drake playing the game. A man with a ponytail enters the scene and sits down face to face with Drake, and I believe all this represents a contract negotiation. The writing has been on
That's
the
what I
wall
thought
that
too.
Drake might not re-sign with UMG in 2025, and all the powerful men are watching because Drake is a critical part of their bottom line. Obviously, they've been approaching him, feeling him out, like, are you going to resign? Like, what are you thinking, bro? Now, as far as the man with the ponytail and who this might be, I don't think he's one person in particular. I think he's a symbol of corporate greed. Both Drake and this man are the dead center of all the shareholders and investors. They are also both specifically under a spotlight, and that is because Drake's legacy and corporate greed is really the center of everything. At the end of the day, is this not what this is all about? Corporate greed over Drake's legacy? That's what this whole thing is. That's what all these people are here for. You can see that the man is asking for Drake to hand over the bag, and clearly they aren't willing to give Drake what he wants, which I honestly feel is very closely tied to ownership, hence why Drake started on the same level as the investor.
Oh, he did. He started where all the important people be coming. Then he had to go down to make the negotiations.
Investors in the beginning. There's also the fact that while all this is going on, the sample in the music that we are hearing is Italian for "go fuck yourself."
Fanculo, va fanculo. But here's the craziest thing. Drake reps a brand from somebody. Somebody has a brand called Va Fanculo. And it's like clothes that he be wearing sometimes.
Think of it this way. If a big chunk of Drake's master recordings leaves the UMG balance sheet, that means lower dividends, weaker forecast, and likely a weaker evaluation of the company itself. All the men looking down expect consistent revenue from the streaming and licensing of Drake's catalog. This is the reality. The Ballor family from France owns 28% of UMG. Tencent out of China owns another.
Bro, how do you even get this? What do you have to do? Like is it back in the day? Like, how'd you even start off? This Ballor family has 28% ownership of UMG. The Tencent has 20%. Like, bro, what Pershing Square Holdings has 10%? How? Let me get some ownership in some business.
20%. Then Pershing Holdings owns another 10%. And look, I think Drake has demands that he's not willing to compromise. Look, at a certain point, it was very clear that Drake realized just how much he was worth and just how valuable he was because we heard all about it in his music.
Classics, I keep scribbling. Lights in the universal building just keep flickering.
You know, he really starts to talk his shit. Like, you know, am I staying or am I going? Like, the lights are starting to flicker. I'm keeping the lights on here.
Gang, you're black and we have no financial legacy. UMG ain't letting you touch shit. You didn't have to say it like that. It's fucked up.
Like, you know, am I staying or am I going? Like, the lights are starting to flicker. I'm keeping the lights on here.
Who the CEO of Universal?
They mistaken, cause Google saying Lucian, but that just doesn't make sense.
Lucian don't make sense. He's not.
Who filling up the piggy bank, who bringing home the bacon. The shit don't come on vinyl. I'm still record breaking. God damn. This shit don't come on vinyl. I'm still record breaking.
Making the money. It's me.
Who filling up the piggy bank? Who bringing home the bacon?
Who's bringing in the bacon? Like, the guys in the gallery, they all know who it is. However, because of corporate greed, it's almost certain they'll never give Drake what he truly wants. That's why when the ponytail man reaches for the bag, Drake pulls it back and holds it tighter.
Hold on, is Drake actually dropping bars? Like, bro, niggas be acting like Drake doesn't have bars. Like, that whole song is just crazy, first of all. That whole song is just straight bars.
It's at this moment that another Pinocchio emerges, and I will reveal who I think this is.
He said, how could I forget? How could I forget? I was on the Greyhound way before the jet. Buffalo, New York was like the furthest I could get in the Warden Galleria trying to make the money stretch. What say? Something and the Yorkdale Connect, bro. Come on, he was spitting.
That another Pinocchio emerges, and I will reveal who I think this is soon, but notice the moment this Pinocchio arrives, Drake decides to leave. Remember, Drake is expecting the bullshit. Next, we see the Iceman truck again,
KD.
and Drake...
This is what I thought when I saw this.
Moment this...
I thought that they were like, alright, bet nigga, since you don't want to resign, we got Kendrick over here, and he's gonna say some crazy shit about you, and there's nothing you could do about it. And he was like, God damn. So he left.
Pinocchio arrives, Drake decides to leave. Remember, Drake is expecting the bullshit. Next, we see the Iceman truck again, and Drake enters a private club in Milan called Apophis. As you can see, here are some photos that they posted to their Instagram page. This is where Drake performs a new song with Yeat called Doghouse with Julia Wolf. Now remember, Yeat's character started at the beginning of the episode with a phone call with Drake saying that if things go left, I got that thing set up for you. I believe it's here where Drake is showing the touring that he did in order to recoup his $400 million deal with UMG very fast. A major clue that led me to this is you'll notice that Zach Bia is the DJ in this scene with Drake, and this is the exact same DJ that opened up for Drake for that entire tour. I think he recouped extremely fast because he made like $250 off touring. He was doing deals with Nike and like tons of brand deals.
Nike. God damn.
I think he recouped way, way faster than what people think. Now the Pinocchios from Republic Records are going fucking crazy. Drake is pumping out music, he's touring, he's recouping on his deal insanely fast, and he won't be re-signing unless they meet his demands. We got Monty Littman running around in circles outside the castle, looking absolutely lost, because between Drake and Taylor Swift, he's losing one of his biggest artists. Then we got Avery Littman playing into Ice, losing his damn mind, because that last block of Ice is Drake's last album with Republic. In terms of, you know, the Republic umbrella, I don't think Drake is in the best position in the eyes of the executives because it seems like he's asking for a lot, and if he doesn't get it, he's going to go. You'll notice that the Pinocchio in the theater stays quiet and stays in one place as the Republic Pinocchios go crazy. I believe this character is the newly promoted John Janik under Interscope. John understands that Drake is not in a cozy position with Republic, and he's also another person who wants Lucian's seat when he leaves. This is a perfect opportunity for John Janik to shine. John already has a long history with Kendrick under Interscope, and it's time to put the plan in motion. We see him running in circles, all in the name of corporate greed. Of course, the investors are going to love the beef because it's destined to generate revenue on all sides. Lucian will look incredible. The board of directors at UMG will be very impressed with John's performance. Kendrick's stock will be higher than ever. And the brothers at Republic get a devalued Drake with far less leverage.
And when they devalue him, you can't make all these demands. We messed up your image. We messed up your image. How are you gonna demand for this? I don't care how big you are. We already ruined your image. Come on, bro. It was wildin'.
Everybody wins. After the Pinocchio John finishes circling, he goes into the exact same position
Oh, I didn't even see this.
on the second level as where Drake started off. That's because of how much he stood to gain from the beef financially, as one of the things that is
So since he got so much money from that beef, now he's in the position.
highlight of Drake's lawsuit is looking into John Janik's contracts. They want to see John's contract. They want to see the bonus incentives. They want to see what the fuck is in there. It's with this visual where I really think Drake is making a statement at the reality of what really happened. He's telling the story through film without saying a word. This battle wasn't organic, and it wasn't about the culture of hip-hop like those Spotify advertisements suggest.
Oh my god. Then they had Spotify put out these billboards talking about hip hop as a competitive sport. So it's just to be like, yeah, this is normal, nigga. Like, you know this shit regular. Like, this is just what hip hop is. This shit happens. Yeah, it does happen, but like, not like this.
Wasn't about the culture of hip-hop like those Spotify advertisements suggested. This was about corporate greed, corrupt
How that nigga Kendrick lost 1 billion streams in 2 months? I'm just saying.
executives, and it was one.
And how Doechii lost her shit too. Look, bro, all them niggas that's affiliated with them TDE niggas, they're losing them streams. All them bots ran out.
Giant play, hence why it's all taking place in a puppet theater. Keep in mind, all this is my perspective. Drake eventually leaves the club, and we see a shot of Kevin Durant, who looks pretty intensely into the camera, and I have no explanation for why he's doing this.
Wrong, Katie, just text what the fuck are we waiting on? Damn.
Drake finally pulls up to the church, and he goes through that little door that we already discussed. One by one, Pinocchio's follow.
This nigga was running, like, this nigga was eager.
That we already discussed. One by one, Pinocchio's follow, but there's only 3.
I said that, bro. I did say that. When I was looking at them, I was like, where's the next Pinocchio at? And he wasn't there.
As I mentioned earlier, I believe the other Pinocchio is the man who Drake interacted with in the gallery who was wearing all black. One of the things I noticed is that Drake's team deliberately used 2 cameras to showcase the one Pinocchio running around in the theater. Why is that? Well, it's because they are showing that there are 2 Pinocchios in the theater. There is even a point where all on the same screen, they show one Pinocchio in the ice bunker, another one in the castle, but yet for whatever reason, there's 2 different angles of the same Pinocchio in the theater. They show the 2 shots because there's 2 Pinocchio.
I'm not gonna lie, if all of this is true, then that nigga Drake is crazy. Like, he's a genius. If this is true,
was in the room. One of Drake's moles is someone higher up. This was something they also did throughout the episode when they showed footage for the restaurant that really helped spell it out for me. Why are they showing 2 shots? Why show anything other than the table? Isn't the table the only shot that matters?
Lucien
well, no,
in the
because
back.
they are showing you that Lucien is in the building, fully aware of the plan, and unlike the corporate puppets, he's eating pretty good, aka the plan yields massive profit. I literally had a dream the other night that the 4 Pinocchios made me a...
Bro, I had a dream. He might be trolling. I had a dream last night. Swear to God, I had a dream last night. I went to my brother's dorm to visit, and he had a live view camera for a stream, like a live view backpack that you have on the camera. And I was like, oh, let me use that for stream. Let me try. And he was like, nah, man, it's broken. It don't work. And I'm like, bro, just let me try it. I keep on begging to try it. And I finally get it. I try it once and it works perfectly fine. Then we start going outside, filming everything. It was good. And then I was like, damn, I need a waiting screen. I need clips to put on. And then I wake up and it was all a dream. No live view camera. That shit's still 2.5K that I don't have. I was sick. You don't know how mad I was, bro. Like, when you wake up mad, like, I woke up mad. Because that was a dream.
Profit. I literally had a dream the other night that the 4 Pinocchios made me a sandwich. You'll notice each Pinocchio is led through the same small door as Drake, and I want to remind you of this scene from episode 2 with the Pinocchio drawn onto the door. Remember, we discussed that doors in the Disney Pinocchio movie are meant to look inviting, but they are all metaphorical traps. And Drake led them through that door, the little door, which tells me, Drake walking through the same door as them symbolizes that he is playing along with what they're doing. Drake then enters a sacristy, and this is a place in a church where a priest will prepare for sermons. I believe this is meant to symbolize that Drake has led the Pinocchios into believing that nothing could possibly go wrong with their plan. It is 100%
the song that plays here is
safe.
so fire.
A song then starts to play that is clearly unique, as it is tailored specifically to the Iceman theme.
Iceman, baby, why you so cold?
Drake holds out the bag pretty much like he's surrendering, and he is surrounded by the 3 Pinocchios. I believe what we are seeing here is the battle and plan being initiated, and Drake already knows what's coming. A big part of the plot twist is playing along in the battle, because that is literally the trap. We hear the Iceman song playing in the background, and that's because the guy that's in front of them is a body double. The Iceman with the bag...
That was a body double, and we done plenty of... Wait, that was a body double, and we done dozens of switches.
And the evidence changed...
And he posted that clip of Bane, right? I think he posted it like a long time ago. He posted a clip of Bane he was talking about his plan and to have like a body double. He did say that.
At the girl's apartment, and we saw the video at the same fireplace where he recorded the Fighting Irish freestyle. And on that record, he said this.
Cover my body in dirt.
But that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
That was a body double, and we done dozens of switches.
It's fucking wild. Like, cover my body in dirt, but that wasn't me. Like, he's saying, like, they tried to destroy me. They thought they did it. But that wasn't me. That was a body double. Because the guy that they thought they buried, he already knew what they were going to do. He had to play the game, though. He had to go through with all these people calling him a pedophile and all this bullshit. He had to do that to catch him in the trap. What's even crazier about this is, remember that girl from earlier who sat back?
I'm not gonna lie, if Drake could come out of whatever, because they was on the nigga ass last year and this year, if he can come out of whatever that was, flip the script, flip everyone's minds, and show them what's really been going on, if this is really what's going on, this nigga the greatest of all time. Now, are there gonna be a lot of people that are mad at the fact that he's suing? I mean, there already is people that are mad about that. But like, shit, I'm trying to see how it plays out. If he could really do that, though, that nigga's crazy.
Pedophile and all this bullshit. He had to do that to catch him in the trap. What's even crazier about this is, remember that girl from earlier who sat back and she's watching those clips of him at this same fireplace? Well, this very freestyle starts out with a woman.
I'm recording.
I'm completely, like, we can't.
The woman is Cindy.
Understate how fucking crazy this is. This is fucking nuts. This is nuts. Like, that freestyle came out in January, and he deliberately leaked it, but never on his own channels. Like, this has never been an official Drake post. It came out of nowhere, and then it now it's up on the plot twist, but it's never been officially affiliated with Drake. I wonder why.
Plot twist isn't even Drake's channel. The YouTube one is not. The Instagram is his shit. But the YouTube, I'm pretty sure that's not him.
Why that is.
I promise I've been thinking before, y'all. I barely get tired, I'm rarely inspired. And you accomplish in a week what I'm daily required. I meet quotas while you rappers having sleepovers.
Damn, that nigga just played some shit I've never heard before. I've been out Draked. It's been a while since I've been out Draked. Wait.
Spending nights in the studio trying to beat Hova, be in the throne instead of being your own, but look.
I don't know. I don't think I know that one. This is crazy though. I like that video. Clap it up for that video. That was a good video. If not even if anything, if everything he was saying was true and a fact, then that's already a new level. That's already crazy.